Faisaleh ki Gadi is here, guys, and I'm pleased to announce that Greenwood he's out of Manchester United. And I don't know what's happened in the last 72, 96, 48 hours. Everyone's confused. No one knows क्या हुआ. हम लोग सेलिब्रेट कर रहे थे NCR in the mud. हम लोग सेलिब्रेट कर रहे थे कि एक स्टेटमेंट आ गया. It's a here we go kind of a statement from Manchester United कि ग्रीनवुड वापस आएगा. Our star boy is back. But little did we know कि धैर नॉकआउट पंच पड़ेगा हमें 3-4 days later. But we are dead and knocked out indeed. I'll start with, as I can see, Lord Ao Greenwood Bhai, with his views about the obvious situation.
भाई सबसे पहले तो मैं ये बोलना चाहूँगा कि मेरा नाम ही लॉर्ड ऑफ ग्रीनवुड रखा गया क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं मेरे पेरेंट्स को ये चीज़ दिख गई थी पिछले 22-23 साल पहले कि ऐसा होने वाला है। तो इसी दिन के लिए मैं प्रिपेयर था बचपन से। तो यार जैसे कि आप मेरे नाम से जान सकते हो, मेरे को ग्रीनवुड बहुत पसंद था। मैं ग्रीनवुड का बहुत बड़ा फ़ैन था। क्या तो गोल मारता था बंदा, ऐसे आता था साइड से, ऐसे लात मारता था और ऐसे बॉल जाती थी। तो भाई अब वो देखने को नहीं मिलेगा। Very saddened by this. It's a very promising career that has been destroyed. अब who has been behind it? क्या वो खुद है, क्या उसकी बंदी है, ये पता नहीं भाई. I wouldn't say, and I wouldn't make accusation on Greenwood भाई कि वो भाई लड़की मारता है भाई. मैं नहीं बोलूँगा भाई, क्योंकि he has been हंस क्यों रहे हो? He has been dismissed of all charges. अगर उसकी बंदी केस हटाती तो अलग बात थी, ठीक है, लेकिन कोर्ट ने ही उसको गिल्टी नहीं कंसिडर किया, ठीक है। तो यहाँ पे अलग सीन है भाई, उसकी बंदी ने केस बंद नहीं किया है। तो यार तब भी यार आई वेरी सैड यार। अभी अच्छा सीन क्या है, अब हमारे पास हॉलैंड है कि इंजर्ड पड़ा है, बाकी अपना राशफोर्ड मार्शियल भी इतने अच्छे नहीं है। तो क्या इसका मतलब ये है कि वील बी इन मार्केट फॉर अनदर स्ट्राइकर, बैकअप striker? I don't know. I'm just very disheartened to see that a very bright talent has gone this way. He was very immature. I'm sure उसने भी किया होगा कुछ, बीटी किया होगा अपने रिलेशनशिप में। उसकी बंदी भी बहुत छोटी थी, उसने भी कुछ जरूरी दोनों में कुछ हुआ होगा, सीन तो हुआ होगा। उसको म्यूचुअली सॉर्ट करने का था ना भाई, पेरेंट्स को इन्वॉल्व कर लेते, फ्रेंड्स को इन्वॉल्व कर लेते। साला इंस्टाग्राम ट्विटर डाल दिया, खुद का जिंदगी तो बर्बाद हुआ ही हुआ, साला सबका हो गया, मेरा बर्बाद हो गया जिंदगी भाई। अब मैं क्या करूंगा? मैं तो ग्रीनवुड देखने आया था, अब ग्रीनवुड है ही नहीं, तो अब मैं क्या करूं बताओ? उनके चक्कर में मैं फंस गया। तो बस यही है।
Fair enough. I think it's quite evident with the terminology as well as his feelings that what he feels about this situation. So I'll now shift my focus to Delvin bhai. आपको क्या लगता है? What do you think? Did you expect it? And what are your fresh views on this?
My opinion, very simple. From the time the news came out 18 months ago that the guy was arrested or was charged basically, and with the evidence that was on display, I think my point of view, my stand in that situation was pretty much certain. If found guilty, the man has to go. And I think the evidence for that matter was too strong for any sort of decision to be overturned by the fact that he's not guilty. And even if you see the official verdict that has come out by the Crown Court, it's basically saying that key witnesses withdrew from the case, out of one of which was apparently the victim, who we will not name for reasons of anonymity and such as that. Now, while the decision that has been taken is correct, I have problems with the way that the process was undertaken. It was February when he was declared, when all the charges were dropped against him, if we want to use the correct legal terminology for that matter. Once the charges were dropped, the internal investigation at the club took place. 6 months, 7 months, the club is in limbo, the player is in limbo. The player is basically training in plain clothes with the knowledge of the club. There was so much of time to take a decision about the future of the player. The player is young. He has his whole career ahead of him. Whether it was with us or it was another, that's a different question altogether. Now, surely it's with another club. But he did have his entire career ahead of him. If the decision was taken a little earlier, say at the start of pre-season perhaps, it gives the club and the player ample amount of time to search for a new club. If we are anyway to go by the statement saying that they are going to support the player in whatever is the next step in his career. Now, with what 10 days left for the transfer window to end, where are you going to find a club that will take this guy has 2 years left on his contract on a 75,000 a week salary? Okay, where are you going to find a club who's willing to take the player with his checkered history? Yes, talented player, his footballing qualities are no doubt. There is no doubt for any set of fans about his footballing qualities. But will a club be willing to take him on? Or will the club find a new club for the player in a particular time? The entire decision making process, the people behind the decision, all of them have to be held accountable for the fact and the way that this decision making process has gone through. Like I said earlier also, the decision that has been taken is right. It is a big decision in the history of the club because this is the first time that such a major decision has been taken. And while the decision is wholeheartedly something that I am very happy about, let me make my feelings very clear. I am very happy about the decision. This was the decision that should have been taken long ago, but better late than never. However, the way that the situation has handled has left a lot to be desired because you are basically making one decision then changing it based on fan backlash. What if the fans hadn't backlashed? What if the fans wouldn't have? What would be your situation then? So yeah, the entire decision making process a mess, but somehow the right decision has been made.
I think fair enough. If I'd come to me, but I'll come to myself last. But I'd differ a bit from Delvin Bai, and Lotto Greenwood was quite evidently against the views of Delvin Bai as well here. But Kshitij bhai, I'll come to you. What do you think? क्या आप agree करते हो with Hadi Bai or with Delvin Bai, or are you somewhere in between?
Actually, I'm somewhere in between. I have a very strong reason behind that. As a lawyer, it's a very simple thing. And as a fan, whether decision was in favor of Greenwood or against the Greenwood, the evidences which was used in the internal investigation should have been released by the club, so that the fans could have made their own opinion that whether he was right or wrong. Right now, we are in complete shadow. I know there is a huge chunk of fan base जो बोलता है कि ग्रीनवुड ने ये किया. There is a huge chunk of fan base जो बोलता है कि नहीं ग्रीनवुड ने अगर ऐसा किया भी तो केस वापस ले लिया या हट गया और बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि ग्रीनवुड ने ऐसा नहीं किया. जो एविडेंसेस प्रेजेंट किए गए थे सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू या जो भी थे दैट इज अगेन द एविडेंसेस प्रेजेंटेड इन द सोशल मीडिया कोर्ट नॉट द एक्चुअल कोर्ट. एट यूनाइटेड ने क्लियरली अपने स्टेटमेंट में कहा कि दे हैव यूज्ड सम ऑफ द एविडेंसेस व्हिच वाज नॉट डिस्क्लोज्ड इन द पब्लिक परव्यू. तो ऐसा नहीं करना था. आप एक क्लब है. Plus, second, you are a club which is listed on a stock market. You are a public entity. So, whatever decision you are taking is affecting lot of people personally as well as professionally. तो आपको सबसे पहले एविडेंसेस रिलीज करने चाहिए थे कि आपने क्या क्या यूज किया, आपने किस किस का स्टेटमेंट लिया, आपने क्या क्या वीडियोस देखे, फोटोज देखे. आप ये मत रिलीज करो कि उन फोटोज और वीडियोस में क्या हुआ. ठीक है. बट आप ये बताओ कि आपने उस एविडेंस को किस वे में इंटरप्रेट किया, किस चीज में आपने उसको देखा. आप उसको बताओ तो सही ताकि फैंस आपको बोल सके कि ओके सर आपने ये डिसीजन लिया तो आपका ये डिसीजन है, वी आर फुल्ली बैकिंग यू. नाउ देयर इज अ वेरी लार्ज चंक ऑफ फैन बेस हु विल बी कंप्लीटली डिससैटिस्फाइड विथ यूनाइटेड एंड एवरी सिंगल एंटनी मिस्टेक दे विल से कि ग्रीनवुड को लाना था, ग्रीनवुड होता तो गोल मारता था, ग्रीनवुड होता था तो ये करता था. एंटनी को खा जाएंगे, पेरिस्ट्री को खा जाएंगे, अमार्ड को खा जाएंगे बिकॉज फर्स्ट ग्रीनवुड हमारा एकेडमी प्रोडक्ट था. सेकंड, आई really believe that and I've said that for a very long time, Greenwood was a generational talent. ठीक है. और जनरेशनल टैलेंट ऐसे ही अगर वेस्ट होता है तो क्लब के लोगों को बहुत दुख होता है. और इवन अ नॉर्मल फुटबॉल फैन, द पीपल नीड टू रियलाइज जो अभी पिछले 2-3 साल में अगर सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं या फिर 1 साल 2 साल से सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, जो हाइप अभी गर्नाचो का है उसका 3 गुना ज्यादा हाइप कम से कम ग्रीनवुड का था. बिकॉज ही कुड फिनिश, ही कुड रन, ही कुड प्ले ऑन विंग एज वेल एज स्ट्राइकर, लेफ्ट फुट, राइट फुट, एवरीथिंग ही हैड. तो आपको अगर अपना डिसीजन लेना है और आप एक पब्लिक एंटिटी हो, यू हैव टू प्रेजेंट द प्रूफ as well as the evidences which was used. And I personally agree with him leaving the club because the evidences which was shown was pretty evident. You can consider him as the mistake. You you can consider it as immaturity, but it was done nonetheless. अभी बहुत लोग बोले कि उसकी गर्लफ्रेंड तो उसी के साथ है, बच्चा भी उसी के साथ है. Doesn't matter. Fucking white people like don't want to deal with that. Yeah.
Fair enough. It's like
Excuse
it's
me, I would like to make a point. I'm not, I may look white, but I am not white. This is very, very bad.
I'm talking about the girlfriend of Greenwood.
Acha, acha.
that's the
So I would like to point out that Mojo sir actually agrees with me, and he has a very valid point. He has said that there have been far worse discretions done in the past by Rooney Giggs and even Ronaldo, if I must add. उसका भी रेप का सीन काफी ज्यादा
It's
कंट्रोवर्सी
the
में था.
curse of number 11 of United. Giggs,
Ah.
Greenwood.
So, bhai, I would like to just say this: कि I am surrounded by feminists. I don't agree with this panel at all, and I am leaving. Okay, I can't stand this. Bye bye.
fair enough. Matlab, I mean, he was pretty clear about his views, and he hasn't liked it one bit that we don't, or at least people who don't agree with him. But he's there on Moses sir's side. But yeah, as I said, I think मैं भी बीच में I'd lie there. मेरे हिसाब से आई थिंक फॉर अ चेंज मेरे को लगा था कि द क्लब डिड हैंडल इट वेल. आई थिंक जितना ये बैकलैश था एंड व्हेन इट केम आउट इन जनवरी I was like, what's gonna happen? Because Greenwood was almost, peaking his sort of popularity. Ki he'll be the next thing, he'll be that, he'll be what, this and that. But then suddenly this came in, and no one knew ki kya hone wala hai. But I think jitna usko daba ke rakha gaya, while also not just being a sort of a moral saint and just dismissing ki chal bhai hat ja. They also did well there. But the only thing is, as if you do believe the reports, the Craftons of this world and the athletics of this world, कि उनने पिछले 72 घंटों में एक पूरे 9, 10, 11, 12 months के उसका यू टर्न ले लिया. Now, I think, what we were expecting after that statement, we were expecting that it was a tap in, it was a here we go to Greenwood coming back. I think what it would have been, and I think it has worked perfectly well for United, that I think it was a product testing. So basically उन्होंने एक product market में बनाया और उन्हें डाल दिया कि देखो ये होने वाला है. They did not say कि they're gonna bring him back, but they made it pretty obvious without sounding on either side कि what's gonna happen next. And I think the backlash that they faced, which I don't know, man, because you know what, ये situation ऐसा है कि everyone lost here. Greenwood's best interest उसके United में रहना था, lost. उसकी girlfriend का best interest यूनाइटेड में रहना था, लॉस्ट. उसकी फैमिली का बेस्ट इंटरेस्ट यूनाइटेड में रहना था, लॉस्ट. इवन यूनाइटेड वुड हैव वांटेड हिम टू बी देयर, बट आल्सो यूनाइटेड का एक और इंटरेस्ट था ऑफ कीपिंग देयर पब्लिक इमेज, एज क्षितिज भाई सेड कि एक स्टॉक मार्केट लिस्टेड कंपनी है. They lost there as well. Richard Arnold Naya, his interest maybe to keep the player and also the club's sanity, that's lost. So there were no winners here. Everyone lost in this case. So that is the point कि जब आप एक ऐसे केस में step in करते हो, there is no right way to handle it. And considering our track record of handling much minor things than these, I think we somehow, मेरे हिसाब से exceeded my expectations. And I think वो जो product testing वाला phase था, people might say कि उन्होंने U-turn लिया. I, by the way, disagree with the decision wholeheartedly. मेरे हिसाब से he should have played for the club. Legalities में मैं गलत हो सकता हूँ, moralities में maybe some people could question and stuff, but मेरे हिसाब से he should have played for the club. But where I sort of actually am sort of with the club is कि मेरे हिसाब से जितना हमारा track record है, I think we've done better than that. Dylan bhai.
Yeah, I agree with most of the part that you said. See, up until the Crafton news which came out saying that United are trying to reintegrate him into the squad, and the decision had already been taken, and Richard Arnold had kind of gone ahead and had gone ahead and conveyed the news to quite a vast majority of the staff that he's going to come back. Up until that particular instance, the club handled the situation excellently. Immediately suspended him from the club, did not allow him to train in the premises, made sure that he was out of the public eye. The club handled everything up until Sunday, I think Friday or Saturday, whichever day it is. Up until the last 3 days, the club handled everything excellently compared to a certain club in North London I think we've done excellently well in that regard. I think it's in these 3 4 days, you know that backlash is going to happen. This is a very very delicate topic, like you said, Antariksh. And like I totally agree with Kshitij on the fact that with United being a stock exchange listed company, uh, these situations and these decisions have to be taken with the utmost care, utmost conviction, and utmost coherence. These three scenes were not there. These three C's were not included in the past 3 days. Also, there is a statement that Greenwood himself has come up with. I'll read the entire statement that Greenwood has come up with. Okay. I want to start by saying I understand that people will judge me because of what they have seen and heard on social media, and I know people will think the worst. I was brought up to know that violence or abuse in any relationship is wrong. I did not do the things I was accused of, and in February, I was cleared of all charges. Here's where things get very, very murky. However, I fully accept I made mistakes in my relationship, and I take my share of responsibility for the situations which led to the social media post. This part of the statement basically says that I did not make a mistake, yet I made a mistake. What is the responsibility that he's taking off? If he has not done anything that he was accused of, if he has not done anything that he was taken to court to, what are the mistakes that he's taking responsibility of? And what are the mistakes or what are the actions that led to the post going on social media? That is always something that you need to question. The rest of the statement is pretty generic, that he's been with the club since 7 years old, he thanks the club, he wanted to be at the club, so on and so forth. This is the key part of the statement where he says he hasn't done anything, yet there are some mistakes. What mistakes?
So
It makes you think.
if I could jump in real quickly there, I think जो ये बोल रहा है, if you could take a football analogy there, there isn't much we can decipher it from here. It's basically when you have a good move, you build out from the back and stuff, and then आपका striker Timo Werner है, and you just fuck it up. Like no matter how good you are, building in. So it's I would like to basically what that statement says is I made mistakes in our relationship. So does everyone. सब पुलिस पे नहीं जाते. सब अपनी job से suspend नहीं होते. It's basically like judging Guardiola on that Champions League medal कि उसे medal नहीं मिल पाया. क्यों? क्योंकि उसने एक CDM नहीं खिलाया. So the same way, अगर ये चीज कभी Instagram पे नहीं होती, he would have never been apologetic about his mistakes. क्योंकि सब करते हैं. If it's just mistakes in the relationship he's talking about, it's just that one incident which is defining probably his whole career now, which is the act of that getting out on Instagram. He's sorry. If he's not sorry about that, then it's essentially, in accordance to the case, sorry about nothing. Because yes, he's sorry about the mistakes he did in his relationship. So am I. So would be Delvin Bhai and so would be Kshitij Bhai, because we all make mistakes in our relationships. But if it's pertaining to that case, he's not sorry for anything, because see what the club has. I would use the word beautifully, and in a negative connotation there is कि they have actually said in the statement कि they'd look out for Greenwood. ये टाटा बाय बाय नहीं है, we'd actually look out for Greenwood as ये हमारा बच्चा है, 7 साल से हमारे साथ था. This is actually them looking out, basically saying कि हम सस्पेंड तो कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हमारा स्टॉक मार्केट पे शेयर जाएगा ऐसे, बट हम सस्पेंड इसलिए कर रहे हैं. सस्पेंड इसलिए नहीं कर रहे कि इसने सब कुछ किया है. इसने जितना किया था उतना नहीं किया, जितना बोला गया था उतना नहीं किया. अरे भाई सस्पेंड क्यों कर रहे हो फिर? So it's basically you also सांप भी मरे लाठी भी ना टूटे kind of a situation. So again, the statement, there are no winners, man. They could have come out with a statement saying you're guilty or bye. That would have been a loser, because arey bhai, clarity though. They're coming out with clarity and trying to not throw Greenwood under the bus. That comes out as double faced. So no winners here, Kshitij bhai. What do you think?
First of all, I would like to clarify कि हमारे relationship में जो mistakes होती हैं, that is not that big of a mistakes. पब्लिक डोमेन में थोड़ा रहना चाहिए कि अपन हाथ पैर नहीं फेंकते इधर उधर. बट द थिंग इज व्हाट आई थिंक कि मतलब दो बोट में अगर पैर रखने का, तो जरूरी नहीं कि आपका पैर जॉन क्लॉड वैन डैम की तरह ही खोलेगा. वो फट भी सकते हैं बीच में से. वो क्लब के साथ वही हुआ. ठीक है, दे ट्राई टू सेल ऑन टू बोट्स कि लाइक ठीक है, ग्रीनवुड हमारा बच्चा है, उसको माफ नहीं कर सकते, हम थोड़ी सी सजा दे रहे हैं तो वो जा रहा है. ठीक है, वो अपनी जगह पे ठीक नहीं था तो हमने उसको सजा दे दी. ठीक है, बट आप देखिए, आप ऐसा नहीं है कि आप स्टॉक्स खरीदना बंद कर दो. आप देखो, हमने सजा दिया ना उसको, वो गलती की हम उसको सजा दिए ना, आप स्टॉक्स खरीदिए प्लीज, ठीक है। तो ये करने के चक्कर में ना चूतिया किसका कटा अल्टीमेटली मैं बताऊं, फैंस का। सबसे अल्टीमेटली सबसे बड़ा चूतिया हम लोग का कटा, हम लोग का हमेशा कटता आया है। और हम लोग इस पे डिस्कशन इसलिए कर रहे हैं, एंड लेट मी टेल यू वी वुड नॉट इवन हैव दिस डिस्कशन इफ दैट प्लेयर वाजंट एज टैलेंटेड एज ग्रीनवुड। वी वुड नॉट गिव अ सिंगल शिट अगर वो ग्रीनवुड जैसा टैलेंटेड प्लेयर नहीं होता, नो मैटर हाउ गुड ही इज। एंथनी लंगा करता बोलते निकाल दो उसको घर से बाहर भगाओ, क्या है अरे ये वो, रेसिस्ट तक बन जाते लोग। बट ग्रीनवुड है क्योंकि जो 35 यार्ड से लेफ्ट फुट वॉन्ड है उसका जो फिनिश करता है, तो एवरीवन लाइक ओ नो ग्रीनवुड, लेट्स हैव अ डिस्कशन गाइस, व्हाट इफ ही इज राइट, व्हाट इफ ही इज रॉन्ग, यू नो। बट अल्टीमेटली क्लब ने क्या बोला कि देखिए आप फैंस हो, तो एक तो हमारे ओनर ग्लेजर्स है, तो यू शव इट डाउन योर थ्रोट, और ग्रीनवुड को भी निकाल दिए, यू आल्सो शव इट डाउन योर थ्रोट। और अभी आप क्या करो, टॉटनहम से भी हार जाते हैं, फिर बैठ के आप झाल बजाओ, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच, ठीक है। और अभी अभी आपने हमने ग्रीनवुड के साथ ऐसा किया, तो हमने जो एंटनी खरीदा है ना 90 मिलियन का, अब आप सब उसको गाली देना क्योंकि उसका पैर ग्रीनवुड के जैसा नहीं चलता है, दे आर बोथ वेरी डिफरेंट प्लेयर, तो अब सब उसको गाली देना। अब वो भी निकलेगा क्योंकि उस पर भी 70 पेज का स्टेटमेंट गया कि नहीं गया, बिल्कुल गया है।
एंटनी का भी पैर फिर इंडीड ग्रीनवुड की तरह चलता है सर शायद।
हाँ, वो फील्ड पे नहीं चलता है, इज ऑल आई वांट टू से, ठीक है। आई स्टिल सपोर्ट एंटनी बिकॉज ही हैज पोटेंशियल टू बी अ गुड प्लेयर, ठीक है। बट द थिंग इज उसके उसके अगेंस्ट भी 70 पेज का स्टेटमेंट गया है, एंड आई एम गारंटिंग यू अगर इफ इट इज फाउंड गिल्टी, यूनाइटेड फैन गलिया गलिया के उसको क्लब से निकालेंगे। दे वुड नॉट डिस्कस वन बिट बिकॉज ही इज नॉट अकेडमी प्रोडक्ट, ही इज नॉट इंग्लिश, एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, किसी को उससे इमोशनल अटैचमेंट नहीं है जो लोगों को ग्रीनवुड से था। दैट्स माय पॉइंट।
Fair enough. Fair enough. Delvin bhai, go on.
I mean, see, there was Mojo sir did put out a valid statement about Sir Alex Ferguson wanting certain players. He gave the examples of Giggs and Rooney, and while it is partly right in the sense cheating is not exactly considered a crime. Like you're not arrested, you're not charged, you're not prosecuted for cheating. And with all due respect to Giggs, Giggs's accusations of domestic abuse came when he was Welsh manager and not involved with United in any form or capacity. Rooney, on the other hand, Rooney's transgressions were all cheating scandals. So,
Giggs was the club ambassador. Yes.
but he was the charges were when he was Welsh manager, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. The charges came out and he was taken to court and dragged on legally when he was Welsh manager. So I think at that point he didn't have anything to do with the club. He did have a stint as caretaker manager, assistant manager to Van Gaal, club ambassador, so on and so forth. But when his allegations came out, he was not involved with the club. As far as I know, I might be wrong here. I might be wrong, but it is what he was not. As far as I know, he wasn't involved. So I don't think cheating is considered as a far worse discretion than the charges that were put on Mason in the first place. So let's get that out of the way. And now my problem is how do the club go from here now? Uh, the club is in a little bit of is in a little bit of a troubled state. We have the aftermath of the results still hanging over our heads. While the performance was not exactly bad, mind you, in the first half, we could have and we should have put the game to bed in the first half. Let's be very honest there. We should have ended the game in the first half itself. Poor habits die hard, so does our finishing. That is what it is. Second half, no bones about the fact we are bad. But just when we were trying to get a semblance of some sort, this bombshell drops upon us. Like you said, Antariksh, there is no winner over here. The only thing I can see is uh, this spurs the club into action. You know, if we get a substantial price for Greenwood, let's not forget he does have 2 years on his contract, which means that we have the leverage for once on a player who is talented on the pitch. Okay, and his salary also will not come as a hurdle for any of the clubs who are trying to get him. 75,000 in today's day and age is not exactly a prohibitive salary that clubs can or cannot match. We can get a good price out of him, and the fact that he's an academy player, which means that the entire profit comes in our books. There is no amortization when it comes to profits and all that. However, there are a lot of areas to address. There's the striker. We need another striker pronto. Uh, with or without the Greenwood issue, we needed another striker. We need another midfielder. The Mount, Casemiro, Bruno thing clearly not working, and with basically an entire acre of space that Casemiro has to manage, the man looks every bit of his 31-year-old, which is not exactly Casemiro's fault, but he's not looking good either. The defense looks shaky. We have, I think, there is a rumored offer for Varane from Saudi, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clubs are talking for 2-minute Martial, apparently. So there are talks going. Apparently, Crystal Palace have inquired for Dean Henderson with a loan plus obligation, not option. So there are things happening behind the scenes, but whether or not we get the deals done depends. But I think the final verdict that has come from my point of view is the right one, because this would be a PR nightmare, to be really honest. Yes, you believe that the thing was beautifully put out, so on and so forth, but this would hurt so many fans, because let's be honest, in the groups that we've had discourse with in this topic, you could see in the group itself that there was so much divisive opinion. If two people are not agreeing on a particular opinion regarding this, it became ugly. Let's just put it at that.
Yeah.
Discourses got ugly after a certain point. Every person, every layman has an opinion about this, which people do not like, which people tend to not like. So there was no winner from terms of fans. The fans would, if at all, he would have come into the club, the fan base in the stadium itself would be divided. Okay, we already seen a snippet of that in the Wolves game where half of the fan base was chanting Mason Greenwood, we know what you've done. I think it was enough response, and the fact that they just put it out like a demo product, like you said, it just wasn't it, man. And then with Adam Crafton going on this string of progressive reporting, Neil Custis, the likes. First of all, United sells papers, and this has just gone ahead and given them massive pages. So all in all, it's an L for us as a club, as a fan base, as stakeholders associated with the club. At this point, we should have celebrated the Man United women's team who were involved in the World Cup final yesterday. We should have celebrated their involvement, their participation, and their performance in that final. But look at what we are talking about today. Look at what we are discussing about. We should have been discussing about how the last 10 days of the transfer window is supposed to go. What are the players that we are looking for? What is there to look for? But look at what we are discussing. So all in all, this is a very bad situation to be in. But thankfully, I think the only way from here right now is up. And we've seen last year that difficult situations like this somehow tend to galvanize the club as far as the players and performances are concerned. I'm just hoping that this is one of those where the club is spurred into action, where the players are spurred into action, and where the manager somehow gets his players to perform. That is what I feel. Yeah, Shitij bhai.
Okay, I just two questions to ask from pro Greenwood and anti Greenwood. You guys can also answer. Okay. Let's assume we are in Champions League, right? Greenwood is integrated into team. He's a brilliant player. We know he is a brilliant player. We are somehow, in some way, in Champions League semi-finals, or let's put stakes higher than this. They're in Champions League finals somehow. Okay, it's against Man City. We have 2 minutes to go in extra time, and Greenwood scores. Would you celebrate or not? Would your moral, if you have those morals, would your morals stand the ground, and would you not celebrate if Greenwood scores the final minute goal? Huh?
I'll be the first
Would
one.
you?
I'll be the first one to answer. Shitish bhai, you don't even need to take the stakes higher. You take it. You make us lose against Nottingham. You make us lose against Arsenal. Make Greenwood come back against. I think it's Brighton.
Arsenal.
Brighton.
Brighton.
Last minute winner मरवा दो. Last minute winner मरवा दो. वो जो अगर if I take it as 50-50, 50 वाले जो ग्रीनवुड के साथ थे, they will rip their shirt off, and जो 50 against है, they'll rip their pants off. I can bet. I can bet it's you don't even need to take the stakes higher because we have seen it. You know, people are saying Ronaldo was this one. रोनाल्डो के साथ ही हुआ. रोनाल्डो, whatever Ronaldo was, अभी जो है रोनाल्डो, he was way less than what he was at that time. He was still very big. I'm not going there, but he was way less than. तो लोग अभी के रोनाल्डो को सोचते कि वो बच गया, तब के रोनाल्डो को देखो. So that's what I'm saying. You know, people would have forgotten this. See, we would have faced immense backlash for at least 6 months. But. I bring the cricket narrative into it. Remember Virat Kohli trying to shush down our crowd when they were going after Steven Smith. So that was, and imagine, so like Old Trafford, it's 70-80% United. So 40% is against Greenwood. And then the 20% away fans are also against Greenwood. Because, you know, English fans, भाई, वो तो 4 poem लिख देंगे पहले दिन पे Greenwood पे. Greenwood, you know what you do. वो खत्म. तो 60% Old Trafford गा रहा होगा कि Greenwood दफा हो. Imagine how that makes the whole team and the atmosphere. So I do see it from that point. See, I still stand with the fact कि वो नहीं खेलना चाहिए था, मतलब खेलना चाहिए था. I wanted him to play, but yeah.
Now my question is to pro Greenwood people that who wanted them to be in the club. Now my question is that don't you think this whole season, if he was in the team, this whole season would have been a write-off. This whole season would have been about Greenwood, not Manchester United.
Absolutely. In a
Every
club
single
that,
scrutiny,
yeah,
every single scrutiny about a 21-year-old player when the manager is trying to build the club from ground up. I know Ten Hag wanted Greenwood in his club. I know Ten Hag wanted Greenwood to play. But don't you think the added pressure on the team, the players, the staff, the coach, the manager, especially the backlash from the women's team, would have been too much to handle for the club to succeed in short run as well as long run when people are expecting us to win at least one trophy and get top five this season? I'm saying top five because top five goes to Champions League next year. I'm just saying, that not hamper the vision of the club to focus just on one player, no matter how talented he is? That's my question from pro Greenwood.
see, it is very simple. This is a day and age where footballers are considered as idols. Footballers are considered as role models. I think this it is the worst. It is the worst possible role model you'll have. Never have a sports person as your idol. People have said in the years gone by. I stand to that. Now, from that point of view, if we take Greenwood in, obviously a lot of sentiments come into play. Like Kshitij bhai, you said, the season would, by all intents and purposes, be considered as a write-off. Antriksh bhai, from the point of view of you saying put him in and he scores a last-minute winner, whether it is a game against Arsenal, whether it's a Champions League semi-final or final at Wembley, nevertheless, like what Kshitij bhai says, at the end of the day, it is the club that we support, not the player. We will celebrate because the club has won. We will not celebrate because a particular player has scored. There are a lot of players who have gone ahead and scored winning goals for us. But when we talk about the game, whether it is on a live stream, whether it is with friends, whether it is with fellow United fans, we always address that the team has won. It's not that a player has won it for the team. It's the team has won. United have won the Premier League. United have won the Champions League. United have won major trophies, not the player. The player has helped it, but the club is going to stay. We follow the club. What has happened in the past few years is that the club has divided itself quite voluntarily into individual player fan bases. That is why you see a lot. We've seen a lot of Pogba fan bases. We've seen a lot of Rashford fan clubs. I myself am the only member of the Van Bissaka fan club, which I say very proudly. But it is what it is. The player fan culture. Like you put out the Indian cricket analogy, Antriksh, right? It's like the Indian fan base having a Virat fan base or Rohit fan base, like that. Look at United. How many player fan bases have we seen? How many player fan bases which have created such a toxic undertone when it comes to fan culture? That is why we are sometimes derided as such reactive fan bases. Like let's talk about the Onana mistake, where immediately when he made that mistake in the preseason friendly against Lens, De Gea would have saved that. De Gea wouldn't have done that. We are so quick. The fan base culture has made this a very toxic situation to be in. For people who genuinely follow the club, a player coming in or going out doesn't matter. We always speak about the club being bigger than the player, don't we? We always do, and it is always bigger than the player. So am I will celebrate the goal, but I will celebrate it from the point of view of the club winning it all, not the player helping, not because of the player. My club loyalty is bigger than any player, to be really honest with you.
Fair enough. Matlab, I completely agree with that. Yes, it is why you can go. Just key.
No,
Go on.
okay. Just a very small point. Anti-Greenwood people will celebrate for the club. Pro-Greenwood people will celebrate for Greenwood and the club. That's what all I wanted to say.
हाँ मतलब बट दैट इज वेयर आई ड्रॉ द लाइन कि मतलब इट्स नॉट रियली अ डिबेट कि जिसमें ऐसा कुछ होगा बट आई जस्ट बिलीव यार if you do put the stakes so high like Champions League final आपने बोला and the most important and the most important statement we United fans remember is Solskjaer has won it तो शायद कमेंटेटर के मन में जबान से भी ग्रीनवुड has won it ही निकलेगा so although Delvin भाई obviously एकदम he's 1000% right कि वो चैंपियंस लीग विनर के बाद भी अगर वो अक्यूज्ड गिल्टी निकल जाएगा तो उसको निकालो क्लब से एंड वी वोंट केयर आफ्टर दैट एंड वी वोंट केयर वन बिट बिकॉज़ द क्लब विल गो ऑन एज रॉय किंग सेड पॉगबा लेफ्ट यूनाइटेड बिफोर एंड वी सर्वाइव्ड एंड वी विल सर्वाइव अगेन तो वो तो है ही बट इट्स जस्ट दैट ह्यूमन इमोशन यार एंड इफ वी आर बीइंग रियली प्रैक्टिकल मतलब won't you just grab your city fan and just kiss on his forehead कि ग्रीनवुड ने बजाया ना ग्रीनवुड ने so you whether you're on whatever side so go on
You you do the same thing if Aaron Wan-Bissaka scored or Anthony scored. Yeah, it's not exactly the one player. So what I'm trying to
if you're morally against it तो आपको वो one player के नहीं करना चाहिए because in a perfect world but that doesn't exist
there is no perfect world. Like I said, if he would have been at the club and if he would have scored a goal which would have a potentially huge impact on our season, see, the anti-player side of the people would celebrate it, like Kshitij Bhai put it very eloquently, with the team's benefit in mind. That should be the underlying tone for every supporter. It shouldn't be a player support over club, which is something that fan culture over all fan bases, not only ours, has lost its essence. The only time when you've seen entire fan bases cast aside the differences and come together from an English football perspective was during that Super League breakup, where you've seen entire fan bases come together. When, apart from that, have you seen fan bases be united on a particular aspect of their club? We are united on the fact where we want Glazers out. Yes, that is one thing which has been constant throughout the best part of the last 2 decades. You ask any United fan, yes, we do want Glazers out. But apart from that, player fans. Like now, for example, I'm a Wan-Bissaka fan, but Antariksh, we've had discourses over the past that we've had contrasting opinions over the fullbacks, but yet you've not seen me have a blind bias that I want Aaron to play every game. In fact, on one of the streams, I was asked if it would come between Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. I had picked Dalot to stay because I know that there are certain limitations that Aaron has. You will not see a lot of fans have the same opinion about a particular player that they represent, which is the problem here. The club has made a decision. It is already out that he's no longer going to be a part of the club. I think the best thing that we as fans can do is just let this go. It is done. You cannot do anything that is going to turn it back. He's not going to come back to the club even if you go ahead and cry. So just focus on the season. We have 36 game weeks left. We have potentially 10 Champions League games to play. If we are having an estimate of a quarterfinals at least this season, we have 10 Champions League games to play. We have a Carabao Cup to defend. We have an FA Cup where we have to replicate the finals run or go one step further and win that. So there is already a lot of things that are in the club's plate as far as on-field performances are concerned. We cannot have something with a decision that is taken off the field to go ahead and affect the entire undertone of our on field. Because look at the other clubs. If we do not if we do not compete as quickly as we're expecting to, with the investment that we have made, despite being under the blanket of FFP restrictions, there is going to be another biblical shitstorm. But this time on the basis of our performances. And at the end of it all, it's going to be the manager who's going to come under the bus.
एब्सोल्युटली एंड मतलब इस सबसे अगेन आर जो हम इस पूरे पैनल का एक यूनाइटेड पॉइंट डिस्पाइट द डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियंस निकल के आ रहा है कि देयर इज नो विनर एंड
Exactly.
दिस just exactly proves the point that whatever it would have been, I think we all lost on that day job that those videos and that audio came out. I think it was done at that time. Some believe it should have been done way sooner. Some believe that now that it was done, a different conclusion should have been reached. But as we said, koi nahi jeeta. But if we take a look at the chat, it's a banter moment here saying the dream world hypotheticals. Sirf sunne mein
It is.
I
It
bring
is
you.
true. It is true.
क्षितिज भाई एकदम लॉन्ग मतलब फेंकते हैं ना एक को ये दूर फेंक दिया जो ऑल राइट पारतोष भाई सेइंग इट्स अ पीआर स्पिन अ ब्रिलियंट वन एट दैट अब ऐसे दिखाओ कि देखो वी टुक एक्शन लोन पे बेचा वी हियर द फैंस ऑफ एवरी सेक्शन बाद में reels of his goals of a public statement probably. So right, by the way, I need to clarify this. I myself have a bit of a doubt here. So right, we have basically decided that he'll leave the club. Are we sure that we're going to get a transfer fee for him? Because if we get
Yes.
that, ये एक और मसला है भाई.
Yes, no, we will get a transfer. We are legally entitled to get a transfer fee from him. We haven't terminated his contract, mind you.
But then if we're making a decision, फिर हम फिर terminate भी नहीं कर रहे.
No, so we are basically said that we are not terminating his contract. We are going to help him with a different, with another stage of his career, which will be away from United. Now, all intents and purposes, that definitely means a transfer out.
No, but couldn't maybe loan तो नहीं फिर loan का option खुला तो नहीं है.
Loan का option खुला है, but then he will be out of the club next year. He is not going to be part of the club anymore. He's
That
not
was
going
fine
to be.
anyways. Like even if we came back, we were discussing कि उसको loan पे तो जाना ही पड़ेगा एक साल. Like it's
Yeah.
a project for 1 year at least.
Yeah,
But I
so-
don't think कि now they loan him out because इतना चंटे daylight
they're
they
going,
can't.
yeah, they're going to look for a permanent transfer because
Yeah.
I said it earlier in the stream itself. This is a guy who has 2 years on his contract, who's on 75K a week, which is a pretty ordinary amount of money if we consider a lot of things when it comes, in today's day and age of the transfer market, where fees are volunteer. You have 115 million CDM giving away a penalty and ending up losing the game. I'll not take his name, but I think we all know who we are. So
For
we are
anonymity purposes.
for anonymity purposes. So what I'm trying to say is, we might as see, we've already crossed that moral line by dragging this procedure for so long. If you're getting any money out of it, then why not? It'll help us. It's like एक तीर से दो निशाने basically.
Right.
You're helping yourself in the FFP perspective. You're getting money. You're raising profit, and you're using that money to get more players. And at the end of the day, all we need is more players. Whoever wants to agree or disagree with the opinion, be my guest. But we do need players because based on the first 2 games, I'm not doubting Ten Hag here. Ten Hag has done better with far worse resources available to him last season. The man basically played with a tractor for almost half the season and somehow managed to get us a top 3 finish. I'm pretty certain that he's going to turn things around. I did not really see much of a mistakes in the first 2 games from him also. Like I did not see the only mistake that I can personally point out is what did he exactly intend to by subbing off Van Bissaka, who apparently but till that time was the best player on the pitch.
Okay. Delvin bhai. I jump in, man. I disagree.
Yeah.
I had
Go on,
this
go on, go on.
full-blown
Go on,
rant
go on.
after Tottenham ki if now people come on Ten Hag को back नहीं किया ये नहीं किया भाई let's get it clear जब उसने contract sign किया he did not come at Man City or Liverpool. The way he's been backed after securing a Champions League, no manager has been after a Champions League. As in, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thoda tha, but if you look at Louis van Gaal and Mourinho and what Mourinho did, second आया वो उस centre back pairings and he got I guess Dallo, Fred or Lee Grant after that.
No, No, 17. When he made the Champions League in 17-18, he got Lukaku, he
No,
got
no, no. I'm not
Lindelof.
talking about when we came second. When we came second, when he won the
Okay.
Europa League, yes, because क्या बोलते हैं जब हम second finish करे is that when I'm sort of pointing out because we were very far from Man City, but we were still the next best among the rest to be get those. But what I'm gonna say here is, bhai, I did a full blown rant on Tenaki. You know, you can't say we have not had players. By no means has this been a bad transfer window. By no means. उसको हॉयलून चाहिए था, उसको मिला, उसको पता था वो इंजर्ड है, खुद झेले अब वो. You won't get 80 million का हॉयलून and then 100 million का हैरी केन. We don't do that. No club मतलब चेल्सी कर रहा है जस्ट तो हम नहीं मतलब then you want Mount wanted to come to United. He had 1 year left on his contract. Chelsea wanted for him to leave. Yet I think, in my opinion, we overpaid for him, despite all of these conditions attached to it. He wanted Onana. इसने now I don't say कि Ten Hag disrespected him, but इसने हाँ बोला है. And a lot of fans speculated कि when he saw Onana was on the market, he said राहिया को कि retract कर लो 225, अब हम तेरे को 150 or whatever the sum was ये देंगे. So he does that, and then he gets Onana. So by no means has he not been back till now. Yes, he could have been backed way more. And I do get that. But the fact that Casemiro played the way he did, like वो 2 plate छोले भटूरे खा रहा है जैसे मैच के 10 मिनट पहले, he played like that in the last game. I don't believe for 1 minute कि वो पूरे हफ्ते he's been playing like the old Casemiro, and on the day itself he consumes छोले भटूरे. I think it has been going on throughout the week. So we say he's a good coach. माउंट को भगा तू. माउंट भागता नहीं है, तू लेके आया तो तू भगा. ब्रूनो नहीं भागता, तू भगा. क्योंकि we have seen Gundogan, Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne, Foden exist in one team. ये सारे बकवास जो excuses है ना, ये सिर्फ यूनाइटेड के साथ लगते हैं कि वो too aggressive, do this, do that. तो वो कहते हैं तेरे को लाना है फिर, because and अगर नहीं लाना and you have that knack of asking 45 million for Scott McTominay, and there is this one puzzle in the world जिसका आंसर Scott McTominay हो सकता है, which was that game against Tottenham. अगर तुझे लग रहा है कि Casemiro, then you play him. Because if you are going to play Mount, तुम्हें attacking चाहिए. You know what, people, आपने बोला कि we should have buried the game, but उनने 2 बार post पे मारा. They had a couple of chances of their own.
One post. The second one was Shaw's. The second one hit Shaw. That second one hit Shaw.
It did hit the post, is what I'm saying. That was a continued spell of Tottenham aggression. And the last game, we were absolutely humiliated. Like, people are just writing off the last game because it was 3 points. We should have gotten -3 for that performance. We said new manager bounce. They got thrashed by Brighton at their home Wolves. So like, what is you? एक second और. You keep playing Sancho as false 9. You keep playing Sancho as false 9 throughout the preseason. Season आता है, Garnacho ने 1-2 preseason game अच्छे खेले. You fuck Sancho off. You play Garnacho, and Sancho is not even making anything anywhere. And then you put Rashford in through the middle. जब आप उसको left पे खिलाते by playing Sancho as false 9, करो ना वो. So I think Ten Hag has been anything but good अभी तक.
Okay, I'll raise certain points. Is Bruno's miss down to Ten Hag? No. I'm talking about the Spurs game, okay? I'm talking entirely about the Spurs game. I totally agree with you on the Wolves game. We were dog shit. We deserved to lose, but we got away with 3 points. My thought process on the Wolves game, absolutely the same. Let's come to the Spurs game. Bruno missed a clear chance. That was a perfect attacking synchronized move, okay? You see all philosophies of Ten Hag, what he's trying to implement with this side, come in perfect sync right up until that final finish. That move which Bruno made is straight out of the training ground. You cannot disagree with me on that. You cannot come with me with an alternative with that. Okay? One. Mount missed a golden chance where Wan-Bissaka, out of all the people, put in such a beautiful cutback that 9 times out of 10 you at least get that shot in fucking target. You do not hit that. You do not get that shot blocked in any rhyme or circumstances. No way in heaven. No way in God's green earth you get that. The penalty decision, I'm not even going to talk about it. I just can't be asked about VAR referees anymore. I have an article which I've written. I am itching to get that out. I've already written that everything is. I just want to send it out. I will send it out right after the stream. I just cannot be asked with the way that VAR is conducted itself, not only for our games, but throughout the course of the 2 game weeks that have gone through. There have been 5 shitty decisions, from which 2 include us, one against us and one for us. So I've detailed those decisions as well. It is about time that referees start taking accountability for their actions, because at the end of the day, one bad call is the difference between staying in the Premier League and getting relegated in the Premier League, is the difference between winning the Premier League and finishing second, is the difference between finishing in European spots and not European spots. At the end of the day, referees cannot get away scot-free after having such honkers in the game. With every game is an important game in the Premier League. All this when you're the self-proclaimed richest league in the world. Okay, yeah. The first half, we had 14 chances. We had 14 shots, 13 chances created. Throughout the course of the game, we had an XG of almost 2. You are telling me, if we had not taken our chances there, had we scored them, would you think we would be having this conversation about Ten Hag not being good? Yes, there are some decisions that I do not agree with in Ten Hag. The most important of them being not playing Sancho in false time when you've played him throughout the course of preseason. You've seen Garnacho have a bad game, yet you can't persisted with him. Fair enough. But you're telling me, had we not taken our chances, we had 4 or 5 clear-cut chances. Rashford couldn't finish. Bruno couldn't finish. There was 5 chances in the first half, which we could have scored at least 2 or 3 out of them, and I'm not counting the penalty. It's an entirely different proposition. We know how Spurs are. You put them under the cosh, no matter who's their manager, no matter whether Postecoglou is their manager, no matter when Conte was their manager, when you put them under pressure, they shrink like a dude's testicles in winter. That's what Spurs are in a nutshell. That is the essence of the club. You're telling me if we wouldn't have scored that, we wouldn't have won the game? The second half would have been an entirely different proposition. So all I'm trying to say is, we were worse in the first 2 games last season also. Yes, different situations, different situations, but I think what I'm trying to say is, let Ten Hag go through the course of it. Like, I know if we will judge him at the end of the season, these results, we will go ahead and judge him on these results, obviously. But what I'm saying is, I don't think he's done much wrong. I will agree with you on 30 or 40% of what you've said, but the rest of them, I don't think he's done a lot of that. It is down to poor decisions by the players at that last minute. Like, we are there, but we are not there. It's like, I tried so hard and got so far. In the end, it doesn't even matter. At the end of the day, we sit with 1 win and 1 loss 2 games into the season. Yeah, Shitish Bhai was saying something.
If your point is completed, just say if your point is completed, I would really
No,
like to
no.
go on a rant.
Go ahead,
Okay,
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
okay. I will get a huge backlash for this, but honestly, this club is the best in the world. But by God, we have the worst fan in this world. I am not even kidding. After 2 games, we are putting hashtag Ten Hag out on Twitter. Okay. After 2 games, the players who don't want the players playing for their club, but the manager signed them. They are saying, "Oh my God, look at this! Oh look at Mount क्या चूतिया है bro, Mount क्या चूतिया." अरे तो है होगा तो चांस तो दो यार. 2 गेम में सीजन में उसको राइवल फैंस से ज्यादा खुद के फैंस ज्यादा गाली देते. यू डोंट सपोर्ट योर ओन फकिंग प्लेयर्स ऑल द टाइम just because it doesn't support your propaganda, your opinions, which you made beforehand without even watching the player play for your own club. Fine, I agree. Casemiro, Bruno, Mount doesn't work. How many matches they have played together? I agree. A lot of fans have this opinion. They don't work together. They don't work together. Every single good club, big club, is making 2 8s and 1 6 work.
Yep.
If you are not believing in Ten Hag enough, I agree. ठीक है, don't believe in Ten Hag enough. Ten Hag कम गाली खाया था क्या? The the people who are coaching, the people who are coaching was completely against Ten Hag. They were like, oh my God, ball fraud, this, that. He has played in Eredivisie. He doesn't have any prem experience. How will he cope to United pressure? Oh, so a fucking Spurs manager can cope to United pressure. Obviously, because Spurs is such a big club. No, that is my one point. ठीक है. Now I am coming to Mount. ठीक है. That player was two out that player was player of the year for Chelsea two times out of the last 3 years. Everyone was shit for Chelsea last season. So he was shit. I agree, he was shit. He was the shittiest of the shit. That doesn't mean that he won't come good for our club. Fine. Second, 6-8-8 doesn't work. Okay. You have this opinion. Good. Have that opinion. Stick by that opinion. And in somewhat, I agree to that. We need a proper ball carrier. I agree to that. Let the manager do his thing. No? I know we have not started this season good. We have not started the last season good. But the way our own fans bash our own club, criticizing the club is very different than bashing your own club. Calling your own player Mount 007 when is just played 2 matches is ridiculous. Rest of the matches are friendlies. You have shifted from one of the biggest club in the world to other one of the biggest club in the world. You have been embodied with the whole blue culture of the Chelsea. You have been a Cobham Academy product. You have your whole life has seen United as a rival. You are accumulating yourself to playing in the Premier League with the one of the most heated rival possible in the Premier League. I agree. I agree that Chelsea is not as big of a rival as Liverpool. City, I don't even count. I have never counted. Everyone knows that. But if you have watched the football during the peak years of the Premier League, Chelsea and Arsenal were our main rival. Liverpool was dog shit in that time. So remember that Mount used to watch football at that time and saw United as its rival. Support the player which manager has got. I'm completely agreeing with the point with Antrich by that Ten Hag has been bad. He has been bad. But have we backed our own players? Have we? Are we backing our own manager? Are we backing whatever our manager is trying to do? Fine, 6-8-8 is not working. If it is not working, I genuinely strongly believe, and I think even you guys would believe that Ten Hag knows more football than us. He will figure stuff out. Stuff out. He has figured stuff out last season also. When he tried to play out from the back, it didn't work. We lost to Brentford. We lost to Brighton. He shifted his tactics according to that, and he tried to play it on the transition. Now he's trying to make his team play transition-based football, which did not work in Spurs match, according to some fans. Let me tell you, it did work, but in parts. It did work. Bruno missed his chance. Rashford missed the header. Bruno played literally the one of the most beautiful Rabonas I've ever seen in my life. Okay, Rashford missed that chance. Anthony shot hit the post. We were constantly hammering their defense. Yes, to be a transition team, you have to, in a FIFA term, you have to drop back after the transition is completed or incompleted. You have to drop back, which we didn't do, and which Spurs exploited that because Postecoglou whole plan was that he want to exploit on counter offensive, and he did that beautifully, brilliantly. Did that. We all know that Postecoglou is a good manager. By no means he is a do it. No matter he is the Australian uncle, it's fine. But we have to understand if you are not backing your own manager, first of all, us Indian fans, especially, we are emotional people, right? It's pretty evident. We are emotional people. Our complete emotional emotions are attached to the club. So we take our decision on the emotions basis. But look, have patience. Season has just started. It's not like we are out of FA Cup. It's not like we are out of the Premier League. It's not like top four race or anything. It is also important to know the point कि प्री सीजन में सारा सॉर्ट आउट कर लेना चाहिए था, सारा फिगर आउट कर लेना चाहिए था, what he wants to play, what he is going to do. Did he get all his player before the transfer window ended? Well, sorry, when the Premier League started, did he get all his players? He got his 3 players which he wanted. Yes, he got the players which he wanted. But did he get all the players that he wanted to start implementing his football? Right now, I agree with Antarish Bhai's another point. Casemiro is playing like he has eaten chole bhature, especially Nagpal ke chole bhature, just before the match. But again, अगर आप उसको बैकअप तो चलो ठीक है, थोड़ा सा कंपटीशन भी नहीं दोगे तो कैसे चलेगा? इज व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. थोड़ा तो कुछ मतलब these player has the mindset if you are not pushing them to the limit they won't go to the limit. तो ये सारी चीजें को दिमाग में रख के हम लोग को आगे बढ़ना है. आई एम नॉट discrediting any other fan's emotion. I'm not discrediting any other fan's opinion. All I am requesting from all of you, have if you are if this manager has given you one trophy, even it's a Mickey Mouse cup, it is a trophy. Have faith in your manager, have faith in your players, even if the player has come from the rival side. Trust in the team. Have some dignity when you are bashing the team and the manager and the player, and criticize them instead of joining the bandwagon with Liverpool fans and City fans. Yes, Mount is shit. Just because you didn't want Mount, that does not mean Mount is shit. Just because you love De Gea, you know Delvin that I love De Gea to bits. But I am supporting Onana as much as De Gea because now he's our player.
Yeah,
I criticize.
I did not tell anything about your loyalties of a player or something. I did
Yeah,
see, I did see a lot of people talking after the first game, saying that the saves that Onana made were at the right place and at the right time. Now, obviously, you make a save when it is at the right place and at the right time. When else would you make a save? If you're not at the right place at the right time, that's a goal. You're not talking about a save. The mere notion of Onana being at the right place at the right time is just bull. You're telling me if he wouldn't be at, that would have been, it would have been a goal, obviously. So, and I also said that Tim Howard, for all of the people who are clowning Tim Howard, this guy is one of the Premier League's reputed goalkeepers. Okay, and he's one of the longest tenured goalkeepers. So, if a Premier League goalkeeper is telling that most of those decisions are not given, I think I'm going to agree with what he says. That if, although I think we all are pretty unanimous in the fact that in today's day and age, that foul is given as a penalty. Our opinions aside. But even if we have our opinions, if a Premier League proven goalkeeper who has been a starting goalkeeper for majority of his clubs and his country has represented his country at a World Cup, he is telling that most of these fouls on keepers are not called. And especially when you consider last year when the exact keeper who was playing opposite us, Jose Sa, literally bitch slapped the shit out of Jack Harrison last year, and that was not given a penalty. You are, and even in the first game, Spurs versus Brentford, Vicario literally swept the feet out of that Brentford striker, and that was not given a penalty. You're telling me that this is going to be given a penalty? For fuck's sake, come on, man, give me a break. So, Kshitij bhai, I totally agree with what you say. Like I said, at the end, it's fan culture, player culture. Not people don't support a team nowadays; they support players.
All right.
I have been supporting. Just one report. I
Go
have
on,
been
go on.
supporting this club since a very long time. It's almost 16, 17 years, and I am just 26, and I can divide my whole years of supporting football in exactly half. 8 years where
Kshitij bhai, can't hear you.
now can you
Yes,
now you
yes,
can, yeah.
yes, yes.
I'm saying all those 8 years you are like team, everything is team से बड़ा कोई नहीं, team से बड़ा कोई नहीं, and the later 8 years part was completely Ronaldo, Messi, Pogba. Oh my God, ये प्लेयर खेलना चाहिए. अरे टीम के लिए जो प्लेयर खेल रहा है उसको खिलाओ ना. जो टीम को सूट करेगा वो प्लेयर खिलाओ. तुम्हारा फेवरेट होने से क्या होता है? पॉग्बा को स्टेडियम खिला दोगे क्या? डजंट मीन ना.
Fair enough.
टीम इज सुपीरियर.
It is. It is. It indeed is, and वही है थोड़ा सा sad reality of our times. And if we sort of move back to the sad reality of present for Manchester United is कि गयो अपना बाबू तो गयो. So just भाई, you're here.
आई थिंक
बताओ.
ओजस भाई को थोड़ा नींद से जगाते, ओजस भाई को थोड़ा इन्वॉल्व करते कॉन्वर्सेशन में. विद दैट बीइंग सेड गाइस, आई टेक योर लीव. Thank you so much to all. It's been great discussing about it, and also I hope that we have a much positive conversation sometime soon. Hopefully, beating Nottingham Forest would be a start. So till then, guys, see you all. Take care. Have a good night, all. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Take care. Right. So, Ojasbhai, now that you're here, yeah, I'd like to know your thoughts. Greenwood, Greenwood, Greenwood.
Yeah, इवन ऑन द लास्ट टीम आई सेड कि मेरे को नहीं चाहिए कि वो ये प्लेयर खेले हमारे क्लब के लिए
Yeah.
एंड आई हैड दिस information that Greenwood is going to be forgiven and he is going to play for Manchester United soon. But whatever has changed in past 72 hours, there's surely someone making the decisions at the top, and it's definitely not the CEO of Manchester United. It's not Richard Arnold. It's someone on the top. It's he's making he or she. I don't know. They are making decisions, and the turnaround has been done in past 48 to 72 hours. So it was pretty clear till then that Greenwood was going to be forgiven, was going to go into a rehab sort of state and play for Manchester United again. Right now, also the contract of Greenwood is not completely terminated because Manchester United is looking for possibilities to revive his career through their sources, whatever they can do. So it is still in a position that we cannot call what future Greenwood holds. But right now, the communication is clear that Manchester United for the immediate future, he doesn't have a future at Manchester United. So that's done for now, and we can, I guess, now, like everyone is saying on the fan club, on the Twitter, and everywhere, we can now focus on the right things about football.
So, like, Ojasbhai, do you think we did the right thing? Like, I almost called it product testing, जो हमने एक statement जारी किया था. I described it as. तो आपको लगता है हमें करना चाहिए था? Because yeah, like either way, if we hadn't done it, it's like very perfect worldish of you to say that we would have let go of a player like Greenwood, as we discussed. And now that we have done it, maybe it has helped us because although he was a player of that caliber, but we got to know कि इसको गालियाँ बढ़ती. So what do you think? Should we done it or should we not?
See, I always believe that Manchester United, and it is true somehow from the sources that have mentioned it, Greenwood was a very big asset for Manchester United, and something had to be done to sort out this mess. Greenwood was always looking for a possibility to play again, irrespective of which club he plays for. But he would have loved to play for Manchester United, and that is what we all know. And somehow, from anyone who is supporting Greenwood or anyone who isn't, deep down knows that it is the right thing in the longer run, because the kind of abuse that both the club and the player would have received on the pitch, it would not have been a healthy environment for a person to come back, first of all. Second of all, club is going through a transition where Glazers are negotiating a sale also. So a lot of things are going. Glazers are still the majority shareholders, and a lot of rumors are saying that they are going to stay. It's actually a pretty slow process, but the progress is going on. So someone at the top has made a decision that it is not right for Greenwood to continue. And as a whole, the fan base, even I just loved the Greenwood. I just love him as a player. He was fantastic. He had enormous potential. But as a club, as an individual, as a person who believes that justice should prevail irrespective of anything, this is the right decision by the club. But it is pretty stupid to realize that they have U-turned in the past 72 hours when they should have decided this in 6 to 7 months ago.
Fair enough. So like again, it's like a bit thoda sa middle-ish, but yeah, I mean, as we said, you can't really like you just can't really pick sides here because no one's the winner. So like we couldn't have gotten out of this with our clothes being all white. So that's that. But it really rings at a very interesting point in my mind. Like, do you think the Glazers out thingy, like it's a question for Satish Bhayabi. So like the Glazers out thingy would be playing on the mind because I think with this Like मेरे को if I put my brain to it, 1+1 2 करूँ मैं, तो मुझे नहीं लगता they're selling, right? In a nutshell, they might as well sell, I don't know, the complications on the backside या क्या चल रहा है, whatever. The amount of money we've spent, the nature of overspending we've done on certain signings, and our intent to be selling well as well as looking to buy well. Obviously Maguire deal fell through, but Maguire जाता तो हमारे पास पवाड़ आ चुका होता, and अगर McTominay का हम 5 मिलियन कम में एक्सेप्ट कर लेते, मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली हमारे पास एमराबैट आ जाता. सीइंग द नेचर ऑफ दैट, मेरे को इन अ नटशेल नहीं लगता वो लोग जा रहे हैं. सो डू यू थिंक दैट हैज प्लेड कि अगर ग्रीनवुड भी खेलेगा क्लब के सॉर्ट ऑफ एक्यूमेन पे, क्लब के सॉर्ट ऑफ नेचर पे, क्लब के मतलब एक दाग लग जाएगा ऑन द कैरेक्टर ऑफ द क्लब, whilst already a Glazers out movement being there. So do you think that has played a part?
क्षितिज भाई, before you reply to this, अंतरिक्ष भाई, दाग लग चुका है, and
Fair enough.
it is something that won't be gone for a while. It will take some time, but see, I can understand everyone discussing on Twitter the process that is happening very slow and Glazers are not selling. I agree, the process has been relentless and it has been tiring, but the news has always been that Glazer is looking for 7.5, and the interested party, no one is disclosing the name right now, that is leading, is only willing to give 5.5 plus the debt. So it is a slow and relentless process. It is going on, but I hope it gets over soon. But these type of things really take time. And welcome to Manchester United, guys, where every small thing takes time.
Yeah, fair enough. It does. Kshitij bhai.
Um, First of all, I'm reading the comments. Shomeful is saying quitting this club. I mean, if you are quitting supporting a club on basis of playing one player or terminating one player contract, then okay. I guess if your whole
I think Kshitij bhai is holding backwards, but yeah.
ठीक है, I have done my one rant for the day, so I won't do another. But okay, it's his personal opinion. But social justice warriors नहीं है हम. I'm just saying कि if he has done wrong and he is not playing for the club, then it's right. And if he has done right and he should have stayed at the club, then club should have released the documents that proving that he is innocent. Then we would have been wholeheartedly behind Greenwood. It's not like we hate Greenwood personally. We don't hate him personally. वो मेरे आके मेरे घर पे मेरा बटुआ नहीं चुराया है. It doesn't make sense. आप लोग नहीं समझ रहे हो ये बात को कि जो उस पे accusations लगे थे, it is horrendous. Not just for a football player, for a human being. And you have to realize it's just a game. It's a game. It's a sport. We are watching it as a fan, but some things are bigger than sport.
Fair enough.
Something should be considered. And रहा तक रही अंतरिक्ष भाई के क्वेश्चन के बाद, now shifting to that. Yes, दाग लग चुका है. As I agree with Ojas bhai that it is a black mark on the history of this club. But it's not as deep as some fans is making it to be. It's what I'll say. It has hurt our reputation, yes. But if you will say that because of this particular incident, the whole trajectory of this club will change and Glazers will now back out कि नहीं Greenwood को कर दिया, backlash हो रहा है, now we have to sell to Qatar or Sir Jim Ratcliffe. You don't know Glazers, I'm sorry. They are the leeches and they'll stick to it no matter what. They'll say कि now in the difficult time for this club, we would like to stick to our fans and we would like to support our fans and let's get through this, and we'll give you one Amrabat also and we'll give you one Gravenberch. We'll move forward and Glazers will stay. If they would have trying to actively sell this club, अभी तक हम लोगों को कोई ना कोई एक नया ओनर मिल चुका होता. और अगर नया ओनर नहीं मिला है, ग्लेजर्स रुकेंगे, इस क्लब का खून और चूसेंगे, हमारे मेंटल पीस को और खत्म करेंगे, and the Glazers
are cunts. That's the end point.
Fair enough. Shomerful, yeah, he comes back with, I think, a decent point and says that if they release those documents, Harriet Robson would have been exposed. Because see, it's like either one of those two things. By the way, club कह रहा है कि उसने जो कहा गया वो किया भी नहीं है, but हम हटा भी रहे. So like Kshitij bhai's point stands absolutely valid. कि some things are bigger than football, but the problem here is the club is saying that those things which are bigger than football he hasn't done to the extent where it was shown or it was reported. He hasn't done. So now, if he hasn't done, then someone has done him, and we know who the someone is. So then, if you actually release those documents, and because again, right, it's like a list of complications. It's not just 1+1 2, black, white, gray. It's actually just gray which is involved, and we can't be very sort of कि नहीं ये हो रहा है तो ये होगा, ये हो रहा है तो ये होगा about it. And he also comes back and says, "Don't worry, it's not just me. Check the comments on the United page." But I also tell you, Shomurful, don't worry. No one, none of you, and I say this from a pure heart, none of you will leave United. As we discussed earlier, Greenwood छोड़ो, अगर वैन बिसाका भी एक ब्राइटन के अगेंस्ट लास्ट मिनट विनर मारेगा तो तुम भी हमारे जितना ही, हमसे ज्यादा ही चिल्लाओगे कि यस यूनाइटेड वॉन.
अभी नॉटिंघम स्ट्रीम कर रहे होंगे ये लोग.
Exactly. They'll be like मुझे स्ट्रीम पे ले लो and stuff. So because it's like at the end of the day we might हमारी एक फोरसाइट में भी हम एक प्लेयर तक लिमिटेड रखे, बट इट्स द क्लब मैन. क्षितिज भाई सपोर्ट्स द क्लब फॉर 17 years. एक उन्हें भी तो आते ही एक, आई थिंक यू सेड यू आर 26, सो 9 की एज में उन्हें भी तो एक प्लेयर अच्छा लगा होगा कि मुझे तो ये प्लेयर बनना है. But that player was gone maybe in a couple of years. He did not leave the club. So no one does. Bruno tha mujhe pasand and I loved Rooney and stuff. And none of them, I mean, Rooney isn't here and Bruno would not be maybe 10 saal baad. So the club survives, man. Anyways, Ojas bhai, we have discussed this topic at length, but I just want to take your point on this particular thing. Like, do you believe, like your honest opinion on this? Like I saw this Arnold का शायद है, उसमें वो कह रहे हैं कि it was a 5-minute clip or something, audio clip, and एक छोटा सा part or excerpt हमने सुना था. I as in Arnold ने पूरा सुना है. So do you think really that it was Greenwood who was like not at blame, or like do you think, like, I just want to know your opinion. It's not something you stand for or anything. Like, do you believe उसके खिलाफ कुछ concretely prove नहीं हो पाया and the club just want to help him now by letting him get a move, or do you think we're just trying to back him up because he's our boy?
Yeah. See, whoever is new to this world, who has just realized that this world is so hopeless and bad, and the law favors the amount of cash you have in your pocket, I want you to see this scenario. What is the reality of this world? Two young guys enter into a relationship. The guy in that gets into an abusive mood, or should say abusive behavior, which he continuously, I should say, abuses his partner over the time or whatever he does. One day partner realizes enough is all. She realizes a way that she can reach to the people so that they can listen to them, and it gets somehow noticed quite a lot because that person plays for Manchester United. Now what she wanted to do was get the attention of people about the things that are happening to her and what she knows about. So I really don't know कि आप लोग क्या सोच रहे हो इस दुनिया में क्या होता है. Jose Mourinho also said, just watch football, don't try to be footballers, because once you identify it to them, they are just horrific people from the inside. Not all of them, but most of them are. So it's something, the reality of the world. It's something not new. There are instances covering such stuff. So it's pretty clear something bad happened, something got noticed, and it is the person who has suffered the most. And Manchester United has been saying all along that the person who has suffered the most from this is not Greenwood, like we are ranting on this stream. It is the person, it is the woman in the relationship who is now the mother of the child of a person who has abused her in the relationship. What has happened, we don't know, but just for a moment, think about what is going outside football. Just for a moment, think about that. What worse could have happened if it wouldn't have come into the limelight. So yes, whatever the clips are, whatever the photos are, whatever it is, I just hope that this mess is sorted. I don't know what has happened between the families, but it is something that really is not, I should say, a good thing to dive into. So just skip for it. You like the club, you don't want to follow it after Greenwood, it's your decision, but just think about what has happened to the person who has really suffered.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, yeah,
So I would put in
go
one
on.
point, a very very simple point. As one of our most respected prime minister of our country said one thing about our democracy, पार्टियां आती जाती रहेंगी, देश रहना
Desh.
चाहिए.
Yeah. Fair enough. मजा आ गया. Oh, मजा आ गया. As a
बड़ा
as another PM candidate calls it,
Yeah,
मजा
the
आ गया.
Shomful is saying that 30 years fans are shifting to City. Bro, they are not real fans.
30
I
years
would,
of fan cannot shift to
if
another club. I'm sorry.
City win 10 trebles on trot, I will still never support Manchester City. Not even for one game.
And Ojas bhai,
Not
I don't
even for
think you have
one game.
supported the club for 30 years.
Yes. I'm like a noob in front of them. I've been following this club for 10 years. I cannot imagine supporting Liverpool, Arsenal,
Well,
or City for, or even now Barcelona I hate because of some things. So these are I cannot imagine.
fair enough. I mean, he has some bold views on it, which I am not genuinely opposing him of, because you know what, I think there are two sides to it, and I'm happy the second side is also showing up. Although the club things and not supporting that obviously takes it on another level, which I know he's not meaning. It's just that he is pretty animated about the fact that a club decision, a club size of our size has actually gone on another decision in just 72 hours. So he says it shouldn't be about it should be about rather ideals, and loyalty shouldn't be second to media. You're absolutely right. You find any book on business ideals or law or whatever, this exact statement would be written, Sean Fulby. But the thing here is that it's about the fact that we are a publicly traded company, a publicly listed company, and we are not in a perfect world. So when obviously it should be about ideals, but if you, I don't know where you're from. If you're from India, I'd take it for an example. If you look at the best of the entrepreneurs in India, you take the Tatas of this world, or you take the Ambanis of this world. There's one side, there's one PR to it which says, they've done this much good and they're donating this. But then there's the other side, which is not much found out about and stuff and said about, but they are capturing lands, and they are peppering into forests, and again, no one says it's wrong or it's right. It's just that ideals take a dig when it's about profits, and that is the capitalistic world we live in. You can choose to be a socialist, or you could choose to be a capitalist who also criticizes capitalism at the same time, which is fair. But I think that was a product test, Shomaful bhai, which we did. And I think, imagine what Greenwood would have gone through, and I actually am going Greenwood, and by Greenwood I mean the whole party involved with it. Imagine telling him, because वो भी 7 साल की उम्र से इस क्लब के साथ जुड़ा है, he's been a lifelong fan. He's been in every sense told कि तू आ रहा है वापस, 10% चांस है कि अगर बिल्कुल ही लोग पलट गए, then we might have to, but तू आएगा. And then बिल्कुल ही लोग indeed पलट गए. And now they've called in and then said, you know what, you'd actually have to say that you're thankful to Manchester United for the support, and you're thankful for everything we've done for you, and say that you leave the club in utter respect. Please do that. But sir, आपने तो बोला था मैं खेलूंगा. No, do that right now or we expose. अच्छा ठीक है sir. That is the situation in a nutshell. So obviously it has been dumbed down on a level, but that is what happens. Shomaful says
From an outside perspective, it's look more like vocal minority versus silent majority.
Yeah.
It
Fair enough.
looks more like that.
Yeah. He says Adidas was okay with his return. But I think I might be wrong, but Adidas was the first one to ban him then, because Man United was the first one to not, actually
Again,
support him.
the point you said, profit. The jersey would have sold fuckload. जो
Yeah,
ग्रीनवुड के जो सपोर्टर्स है वो सिर्फ ग्रीनवुड की जर्सी खरीदते फिर एडिडास से.
absolutely. Comes out and says, not people, the loud minority, the silent majority will show their opinion. Fair enough. Yeah, Nike. Yeah, that is what I supposed. I think he was a Nike athlete. But yeah, Shamaful, as we said, we can go endless rounds about it. But the sad reality of this thing is that, see, I again think कि कुछ भी हो जाता had they product tested or not, had they just said no नहीं खेलेगा, had they said yes खेलेगा, हमारी सफेद शर्ट पे दाग लगना था, because this was a कीचड़, and Greenwood का all of that was a high speed bike which just went through it, so it had to be there. But I think for once, the way we've handled David De Gea, the way we've handled Ander Herrera, the way we've handled the fan media, the Super League, the Glazers out, and everything, transfers every transfer window, outgoings every window, legends of this club leaving wala thing, the disgrace with which I think this was all of that combined plus 10, ये इतना ज़्यादा stakes high थे इस चीज में, in morality. I think we still dealt with it well. Imagine this has been going on for like almost a year, more than a year almost. Not more than a year, but almost like a yearish. हमने इसको इतना दबा के रखा. We forgot about this ever existed before this season. We celebrated Carabao Cup. We got through the season. We came third and stuff. So I think the club has done a decent job. यहाँ पर they had to. You have to see it from a business point of view कि वो उसे नहीं भगा सकते थे, which you rightly are with. But then वो उसे ला भी नहीं सकते थे because our own stadium was singing against him. So you can't go into an Old Trafford wherein 70% of the Old Trafford, including the away support, would be dissing your own club. कैसे करेंगे? कैसे करेंगे? Because it is just not possible. So like Anshuman Bhai says, people like Sean are an important example as to why privilege creates ignorance in society. All right, we won't go into the personal detailing of it, but
See, पर्सनल जाने का कोई यहाँ पे फायदा नहीं है.
कोई
It's what I want to say to Shomerful Bhai also, if that is his name, कि I may not agree to your point, but I respect your point, and that is what we should do as a fan. We should not, like, we have to respect the other person opinion because they have formed that on the basis of their own intellect, their own choices, their own
Yep.
looking forward to the matter. So I cannot outright deny what Shomerful is saying. It is like, नहीं नहीं ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता, आप कैसे बोल सकते हो? He has gone through it with some logic to it, and I have gone to it with some logic to it. And was never anti Greenwood or pro Greenwood. I gave you the point in the starting of the episode only that what was my stance. If he was a perpetrator, tell us. If he was not the perpetrator, tell us. Why is there a cloud? Don't put forward a cloud. Make sure the club is transparent, which has not been the case in last 20 years with this club. Just form something. We are forming opinion on the basis of our own assumption instead of the facts, is what I'm saying.
Shagrabai's point is, I mean, decently fair. And do you think athletics report played a part? See, I think every bit of media report, her fan ka vocal cord played a part in this. I would go on because every fan's opinion, every fan's voice at Old Trafford, every media's report was that one step of that call which I imitated. Ki Greenwood bhai, sorry, yaar, I think we have to say no. It was those steps, those baby steps, which actually led to this. So, and Athletic being the sort of the prime, when we think of United, obviously in
One
United,
of the most reliable sources.
exactly, and especially United, they have like almost 3 dedicated journalists just for us. So, like, come on. So, I think that has obviously played a part. The clout. See, I absolutely agree with you, and this does show me that I don't know yaar, whether you're Indian or not. I just want to speak Hindi sometimes with you. And I'm just going ki, yes, you are absolutely right. And I agree with you. And that does show that you have been seeing the case in a rather depthful manner, because you do realize the importance of probably protecting the victim. But I think what you're really upset about is the the potential abuser ko jo dikkat ho gayi hai. I do get that. But that is what I'm saying, Shamuful. If I could put a football analogy again to it, see, Guardiola, when we judge Guardiola, I again put this example. For me, I think what he has done, for people to still say that, oh, he's dependent on money. I think mere opinion mein, that is ignorance. That is ignorance because one thing is winning, then the other thing is winning in the way which he has. Forget that he's managing City. Forget that he's managing City. Just look at it. He came into English football. जब लोगों ने कहा था, तेरे ideals कहीं नहीं चलेंगे. But he did it. In spite of the fact he did all of it, he was still judged कि उसने एक CDM नहीं खिलाया Champions League final में, and he didn't get that medal. And the fact that he got the medal, he's still not being recognized. So you see how unfair the world is. So you are judged by that one moment. Soundful by, to be honest, I can't play and I can't bet or मैं ये सब नहीं कर सकता. But people would maybe backlash. So I'd take it a higher probability. I'd say 20 Premier League team, I would have gone with one. But 20 Premier League teams, if we take a squad of 20, I'd say 400 players. I can bet from what I've read in the reports throughout the history, this has been happening with other players as well. This has to be just purely on the basis of probability and humane nature of footballers for the past reports we've done. The only sort of reason why that is not being there is कि वो एक moment, if something happens there, उनका सीधा social media पे आते, they'll be gone. Trust me, they won't even be given 7-8 months like Greenwood was. अगर ग्रीनवुड मैक्टोमिनी मगवायर के नेचर का होता in terms of his playing, he would have been gone कल तरसों परसों man. He would have been done by February, January, done. He would have probably not been playing football or been playing for another club in this window only, पिछले window से only. So you have to take it कि वो जो one moment आ गया, you might call it bad luck. See, it is. I'm not going on the fact कि उसने crime commit किया या नहीं किया. That's a different game altogether. उसने अगर वो crime commit किया भी होता, किया भी है अगर, he would have still gotten lucky अगर वो चीज बाहर ही नहीं आती. Had they kept it between themselves, had they shut it down between themselves कि नहीं यही रहेगा, parents gotten involved, had he actually abused and stuff and whatever he was actually accused of, had he done, he would have still been playing for Man United. Or on the complete opposite of it, अगर उसने कुछ भी नहीं किया होता, and I'd say the photos we saw and everything, that was all editing, makeup, fake, blah blah. वो तब भी यूनाइटेड के लिए नहीं खेलता because that is the sad reality of the world we're living in. So I do see the point which you're making, but as I said, no winners in this one. And हाँ मतलब I would just say that. So I think
to improve the mood of the whole conversation and lighten
yeah, go
it
on.
up, here's my card.
There you go. I mean, what a way to sort of round out the stream. I think it was a pretty dull and a pretty dad wala mood going on, but I think this is why I just perfectly sort of made it perfect. Yeah, ekdam. He just catted it. Ekdam catify kar diya mood ko, and we're having a smile on our faces now. So Shauful bhai, we respect the fact that you're passionate. ड्राइव करो एकदम बढ़िया जगह पे पैशन को. अपन भी सब लोग पैशनेट है, बट डोंट फॉरगेट क्लब सातवां आसमान भाई. और कोई भी प्लेयर मे बी स्काई स्क्रेपर लेवल ऐसा लगा. सो दैट इज द फैक्ट्री, दैट इज द फैक्ट, दैट इज द प्राइम फैक्ट. बट विद दैट, ग्रीनवुड पसंद था नहीं पसंद था, whatever it was, he's not going to play for us anymore anytime soon, at least. Maybe 5 साल बाद 80 मिलियन में खरीद ले, who knows. So that's that, and that's cat again. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. Thank you so much for the passionate comments. Every one of you showed your views and expressed your opinions. We're eternally grateful. And just before we leave, don't forget to like the stream because it always helps us to reach to more people. And breaking news like this, we're on it from the minute and we come here. So yeah, a good night from everyone. Keep supporting United. Subscribe to the channel as well. And we both will speak to you in a bit.